Welcome aboard everyone, Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street. We have a quick update video here on Proton XPR. Guys, I feel like I'm going to cut my foot off in a minute. Honestly, absolutely doing my head in. Anyway, first things first, thank you very much for the support of the channel, guys. Absolutely smashing through the numbers, very much going toward that 5,000 mark. We can do it before Christmas Day. Phenomenal. But either way, guys, it's not about that. It's about the great support and viewership that you guys give. Please do continue to share our channel with your friends and family that are interested in crypto or blockchain, and hopefully we can have a lot of fun along the way, as well as providing hopefully what we believe some relatively good information on a variety of different projects. So I know you said veracity then, because I read the word veracity there, so I hopefully I saved that. But anyway, guys, a couple of top line things for Proton before we go into the chart. First things first, which may have a bit of reasoning perhaps by the last 24 hours of movement with XPR, but quite recently, I think this was yesterday or today, let's check, 14th. So yeah, yesterday as a recording. Of course, you might see this in the future and go, what on earth are you talking about? But yeah, this was December the 14th, 4.4 million XPR burned. So that's always good to see. Helps with the inflationary aspect of the token for the long run as well. And just keeps encouraging as time goes by for that supply obviously to diminish and reflect a better price point for XPR moving forward. Obviously, that's going to be a very slow transition. We covered this topic quite some time ago, but it's nice to see that they are committed to what they said they would do on a regular basis. So good to see that happening. And of course, there'll be more as time goes by. Secondly, very interesting one, this one. I have mixed thoughts. But here we go. Philadelphia, so a cryptocurrency company, i.e. Proton, has donated $100,000 to help restore a Philadelphia landmark. So this is about I think, a very old traditional bank building, which possibly could maybe have been demolished or something. But it appears there's a multitude of companies around the world, or certainly in the US as well, helping towards raising money to keep the bank's restoration ongoing and reopening. Now, I don't like banks, so my first initiation was helping out the sort of concept of banks. I don't really like. However, of course, in some instances, I couldn't believe it. Throughout this year of like statues being taken down and stuff, but I think equally on the other hand, it's good to see where we have come from. So, maybe in 10, 20, 30 years time, when we look back and new generations of people have come out, we can actually, can you believe this, right? It's literally in a generation's time, we could be talking to people about banks and people are like, what on earth are you talking about? And we're just all on these exchanges and, personalized wallets and things like that Proton arguably is one of those, of course, that are probably going to be more and more popular as time goes by, and have the abilities of what banks have done, but so much more to the person. So I can imagine having a conversation with a young person in like maybe 30 years time going, in my day we had banks, just as much as our fathers and forefathers probably had similar conversations as time went by. So really interested to see that, but I kind of get it. Like, obviously it's good PR. I have my thoughts and opinions on banks, but in a nutshell, I guess keeping the historic background of where we've come from to where we are today. Of course, if we didn't have banks, we might not have had things like inflation and interest rates and terrible things in the world, but equally, maybe, just perhaps, blockchain would not be such a big thing right now, with something that we were trying to change. So, I think that's really cool, but let us know what you think in the comments below about this kind of situation. But very interesting. So they used phones to make the transfer. So I get it. If it opens up to a museum or something, maybe one day I'll go to America for the first time. Maybe I'll just pop in and just flash my Proton wallet around and go, haha, look where we are now. But guys, very interesting. And another quick topic before we go into the chart. Proton just announced, I think last couple of days, 125,000 XPR Proton accounts now open. So bear in mind, it was only about 2 weeks ago that we announced 100,000. So I'm still adamant that they could hit 1 million accounts within 2022. Let us know if you think that is madness or if you think it's achievable in the comments below. But I personally think that they could hit 1 million, especially the way it's going and the speed at which people are taken on board. And also as well, they have introduced the USDC pairing, I believe, that you can now actually buy and sell Proton using USDC on the wallet also. So I'm not sure if that's part of the full fiat integration kind of thing that we talked about, but to be honest, it's not really fiat. Obviously, it's a stable coin built around blockchain and crypto. So I think we're still waiting for that particular announcement to come out, but very, very interesting and good to see nonetheless from Proton. So on that note, guys, let's jump into the chart and see where we are. Smash that like button if you like what you hear and see. So let's just take a quick look at this one. So obviously we had a bit of a nice sort of take up today. I'm still having this area down here in a position to try and purchase some more dips, albeit that it's not gigantically different, just being competitive with myself. So I do have some buy areas on Qcoin for just over that 1 cent mark. I say just over, we're kind of just over 1 cent as it is anyway. 1.6 is recording. Very nicely tailing ourselves up to one of these fib retracement lines here, which is pretty much bang on 1.5. So if we can get a close over 1.5 today and maybe over the next few days, it might confirm a proper swing around for XPR to take us up back to higher levels. But there's a few things I wanted to pull up information wise on the RSIs and the indicators that we've got down here, just to perhaps confirm a bit of that, because obviously we've had a lot of overselling areas here. So we've had this big wave here, tried to boost it in, but along this way, by the way, I think it was around here, we probably had the Bitcoin leveraging failures and all the other things that went on in the market to give us kind of like a second wave within a second wave, if that makes sense. Might as well call it a third wave. But you can see that the pattern is diminishing on that, and we have our first green one here. We might see something similar to this, which is why I've still got my buy area where I have in those lower regions, because we might have another switch back, but I don't think it's going to be as big as these, of course. Just a very quick one, last kind of flush out, if you like, people holding and then taking us into a stronger position, because I think the foundations are really building right now. Obviously we've seen a few red days along the way, which we're all getting a bit tired of now. And just before I go into the other indicators, I just want to point this out. So I usually say like between 30 and 70% corrections from the previous high points, and actually from that 19th of October position, we've reduced this down, I think up to the 6th of December, 73%. So as you can see, we're slowly, very slowly getting higher lows now from that 6th of December point. So it's a good week or two development to get down to this stage, but I would really like to see XPR building momentum at this 1.5 area and taking it up a bit further. But back to these indicators before we kind of like wrap up. So yeah, we just talked about the overselling aspect. On the RSIs, of course, back on that 6th of December area, or just before that, we have got some really interesting RSI kind of indicators here. So I'm just going to pull out this bit a bit more so we can see it properly. So what we got here, you can see sort of hovering around now, 28 day, 90 day and 14 days. And we've also got the MACD, which I talked about just now. Again, if I can just pull that up, actually, we can have a quick look at that. If it plays ball, will it move for me? Come on, there we go. So here we go. Yeah, let me just try and zoom in a bit more. So yeah, not quite fully switched over on the MACD just yet. Very small tip over. So let's see if that becomes resistance or if we can actually indeed turn this back over. Like I said, look at that. It's been very much under the radar for quite some time. But the RSI, as I said, just down in this area, floating around on the 14 day at 33. and yesterday now at 33.84, but today hitting 38. So it's going in a good direction. Like I said, it's not fully over in my opinion, but certainly more positive. So from my aspect, I was certainly purchasing XPR on the way down, and I think, in my opinion, that this is something that's looking quite positive. So we've got 49 on the 90-day, which is looking at a very good average perspective over these 3 months. And if we talk about that 73%, kind of ties in with that, to the extent where I've been buying at these areas, and I probably will, to be honest, with XPR up until 4 or 5 cents anyway, because I think it's phenomenal. I think it's got a big future ahead. But in those that are trying to trade perhaps lower regions, again, it's not financial advice, but these are certainly great indicators to acknowledge that we're still in a good sort of buying area, and then perhaps you might want to pause that for a bit whilst we then see the momentum upwards. And of course, from then, once we start seeing things like RSIs on the 14-day being something like 70 or 80, that's where I traditionally take initial kind of profits, and then I would take them in incremental stages above that, depending on where we are in the chart and the price, of course. But the RSIs are a good indicator on that, and particularly on the 28-day. So right now we're looking at 38.14 and 43 on the 28. So roughly in a month's time, we're going to see a really good conclusive area of, can I take profits, yeah or not? Obviously, I can look at the chart, but the RSI gives me a lot more depth in the analysis to confirm when do I want to actually take these profits in for myself. So what we'll do in the next video, once we confirm that this is perhaps a support area and we are taking this up until another level, I will start putting in some sell-off orders. So you don't have to follow them. It's just my opinions on what I'm doing, but it does perhaps give an idea of showing you how I use the RSIs, and also just the general aspect of the chart. So hopefully that will be useful to you in some capacity. But yeah, I think very much like I said, this 1.5 area is of great interest. We're seeing a bit of resistance at those levels, and kind of ties us in with previous levels around here in October as well. And certainly back in these levels, I particularly like this area here. Once we get to it, maybe 1.7, I'm sure we'll see a bit of resistance and playing about there as well. So that's very much the XPR video at the moment, guys. Like I said, we'll update this one probably on either Saturday or Monday. But if we see anything of confirmation here, we'll jump on a video earlier than that. But until then, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this one, and we'll see how this plays out. So we'll see if it comes back down here to grab a few last minute bargains. But in my opinion, I think if we can break this 1.5 and stay there, we can start taking XPR up into a forward direction. So guys, we'll wrap that up there. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next XPR Proton video update. Bye bye.